I know, I'm gonna look it up. When you can't remember exactly the superhero name, but you're filming on your phone, so you can't look it up on that. But you have a Marvel encyclopedia right behind you on a bookshelf, so I'm gonna look it up in here. Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So today's video is a movie review because I'm gonna be reviewing the newest Marvel Cinematic Universe film, Black Panther. So I saw Black Panther the day it came out in the cinemas, and I absolutely loved it so much. It's definitely one of my favorite MCU films, and today I'm gonna be reviewing it. Now, this will be a spoiler review, so spoiler warning: if you haven't seen Black Panther, stop this video right here, go see it, and then watch this review because I will be giving away most of what happens in the film as I review it. So, Black Panther. Obviously, we first met T'Challa in Civil War, and that's when we found out he was the Black Panther, and that's when his dad dies, T'Chaka, which is a big part of his characterization in his story. We didn't see him too much in Civil War, but what we did see of him, he had a really good character development story, obviously going from wanting to rip Bucky's throat out to realizing it wasn't Bucky's fault to then going to stop Zemo and that sort of thing. And I loved his story in Civil War, and we know that Black Panther takes place 1 week after Civil War, so that's where the film picked up from. So going into this film, I think one of the things I was most excited about was just seeing Wakanda, seeing Black Panther. I wasn't sure what the story would be like, but I was really interested to see what they would do, all that sort of stuff. I was super hyped to see all the characters, and one character in particular I was looking forward to was Shuri, T'Challa's sister. We didn't know much about her going into the film. All I knew was that she's T'Challa's sister. She's one of the smartest people in the MCU, and she's only 16. And just from those facts, I was really excited to see what she would do in the film and what she was going to be like. And she was definitely one of the new characters I was most excited about seeing. And oh my goodness, she did not disappoint. She is now one of my all-time favorite MCU characters. I love Shuri so much with all my heart. She's absolutely incredible, and she was definitely the highlight of the film for me. I knew Shuri was going to be an epic character from the second she flipped off the King of Wakanda. I mean, come on, it was so good. And I think the way they introduced her character in that scene when T'Challa came back, right from the moment she came into the film, she was throwing shade at her older brother, teasing him, freezing in front of Nakia, and then flipping him off. And the fact that her mum knew she was flipping T'Challa off without even having to turn around just really showed exactly what kind of character Shuri was going to be, and it was from that scene I was super excited to see what she would offer in this film. So T'Challa came back to Wakanda after being away for Civil War, and they had to coronate him because obviously T'Chaka died, which meant he was now the king. Firstly, let's just talk about Wakanda, because Wakanda itself looks absolutely stunning. It looks insane. It looks so beautiful and amazing, and their technology, they are the most advanced civilization on the planet. If you thought Iron Man was high tech, please, compared to Wakanda, Tony Stark makes tech from the Stone Ages. Getting to finally see Wakanda was so awesome, and it looks so good. And to think that they've managed to keep this entire civilization and all this technology a complete secret from the rest of this world this entire time. It's so interesting that they would do that. It's really impressive that they've managed to do it. So then we get to the scene of T'Challa's coronation, which they do by this waterfall, and obviously they ask the different tribes if anyone wants to challenge him for the throne of Wakanda. All the tribes say no, but then they ask again, and Shuri puts her hand up. Now, to be honest, when she first put her hand up, I thought she might be serious, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe her story is she's gonna be that jealous sibling, that sort of storyline, which is what is gonna be her character throughout this film. I was wrong. I was very wrong, because she puts her hand up, and then she's there like, this corset is really uncomfortable. Can we all just wrap it up and go home? That is hands down my favorite line in the entire film. I died. The second she said that, I was like, okay, she's making a joke in front of the whole of Wakanda at her brother's coronation. This is Shuri, and I love her, and it was that moment I was like, she is my fave. I will protect her. I will do anything to keep her safe. I will give her all the love she deserves. She is incredible, and so that line is forever my favorite line in the film. So then M'Baku comes in, and he challenges T'Challa for the throne, and that fight on the waterfall was really intense, and it was done so well. I mean, the fact that it was on a waterfall and there wasn't anything to stop them from falling over the edge was the most stressful thing ever, but they didn't fall over the edge yet. I think my favorite scene in this film is when T'Challa and Shuri are in Shuri's lab, and she's showing him all the different tech. Again, this is a very Shuri heavy scene, and this is again where you really get to see her character and what her personality is like and stuff, and it's so funny and it's so good, and I love this scene so much. For starters, starters, T'Challa and Shuri have a sibling handshake which includes the Wakanda Forever symbol, and I absolutely love their sibling relationship in this film. It is so sweet and you can really tell how much they love each other and care for each other, and it's just such a good healthy sibling relationship, and it's so awesome seeing them together on screen. So when talking about the lab scene, I think one important thing that we have to talk about is the what are those? Can you believe that Shuri quotes vines? It is brilliant and I love her, and this is where you can really see that she is only 16 because she quotes vines. Like, she is 16 and it is, oh my god, I did not see that coming. Even when she was like, the real question is, I was like, right, okay, and then she just said, what are those? And I'm like, she did that, she just did that, they did that, wow. And oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever laughed that much in the cinema before. It was absolutely brilliant. That scene was hilarious. But another thing I absolutely loved about this scene was the fact that Shuri was showing her brother the tech, which Shuri has built and designed all herself. Shuri made all this tech, including multiple Black Panther suits. Shuri made it. She's only 16. Dude, this girl is crazy talented. So she shows T'Challa like new comm devices, the things that she puts on the car so she can control it from her lab. She shows him the new shoes. Guess what I call them? Sneakers. She quotes vines and makes puns. The new Black Panther suit that she's built is so cool, and the whole kinetic energy thing that it does is like really handy and it looks really awesome and it's so cool, and she designed it herself. She's only 16, but it's when she's getting T'Challa to test out the suit that's so funny because she's like, strike it, and then he kicks it and she's like, not that hard, genius, I invite you to my lab and you just kick things around. And then when she's like, strike it again in the same spot, and she gets out the camera to film and T'Challa's like, you're recording? And she's like, for research purposes, all innocently. But nope, she was trolling T'Challa and she got that footage of him being blasted by his own suit. And is she going to delete that footage? No, she's not. Again, that whole filming for research purposes in order to troll the sibling is something me and my sister would do, so it perfectly portrays a sibling relationship. So after this scene, T'Challa then goes to South Korea to try and catch Claw. Now obviously my K-pop obsessed self freaked out a little bit when they were going to South Korea, and then my Jungkook biased self freaked out even more when we found out they were going to Busan in South Korea. So when I went to see Black Panther, I completely forgot that Everett Ross was in the trailer and therefore in the film. So when he showed up I was like, oh yeah. Obviously he's not my favorite character. In fact, I really hate his character just from what he was like in Civil War. I did not like him at all, so I wasn't that excited about him being in it, but it was interesting to see what they would do with his character. I mean, he's so annoying in this film. He is the definition of white privilege. But the casino scene was funny, and Stanley cameo, I have to talk about Okoye in this scene. Just Okoye in general. She was absolutely magnificent. She is so badass and amazing and awesome. I love her so much. It was like the scene in the casino when she used her wig as a weapon to take out a bad guy. That bit was great. So then we get the car chase scene, which happens throughout Busan, and this is another one of my favorite scenes in the film. Shuri in the scene especially was super adorable because you can tell she really wanted to help out and she was super excited when she got to, and the tech that she designed where she can remote control a car from this sandbox in her lab is the coolest thing ever. And again, she's only 16 and she designed that. Like, how impressive. But it was really cool seeing her get to like be a part of this car chase from Wakanda and like driving around with T'Challa on top of it in the new Black Panther suit. It was super awesome, and they were like chasing, getting short, and then he used the kinetic energy and like boom, car flip. It was great. And again, Okoye in the scene was absolutely phenomenal. The way she managed to throw that spear to stop Claw's car was brilliant. So they managed to catch Claw, and again, that bit was really cool, but obviously Ross is now involved. Ugh. But Ross is so annoying, especially that bit when Okoye is speaking in African to T'Challa, and then Ross turns to T'Challa and is like, does she speak English? Like, okay, first things first, not everyone has to speak our language, mate. And number two, the fact that he turns to T'Challa to ask if Okoye can speak English, which is literally him assuming that Okoye can't speak English. Again, just because she's speaking African to T'Challa does not mean she can't speak English. It's upsetting, honestly, Ross. But then when Okoye's like, when she wants to, I was like, yes, thank you. And then Okoye telling T'Challa how she's gonna impale Ross on the desk, but in African, so Ross doesn't know what they're saying. I love Okoye. She's so awesome and badass. So then Claw gets away. Ross gets shot. He does get shot saving Nakia. I will give him that, but he still sucks. T'Challa decides to take him to Wakanda. Don't tell Steve that the guy who tried to arrest Bucky is now in Wakanda with them. He wouldn't be very happy with that. They brought Ross to the lab and Shuri was like, great, another broken white boy for us to fix. That was so good. And also the fact that she says another broken white boy to fix. We then learn in the post-credit scene that this other white boy she's had to fix already is probably Bucky that she's referring to. So that was quite cool. So Shuri heals Ross. So not only can Shuri design and build insane tech for Wakanda and build really awesome Black Panther suits that take in kinetic energy and stuff, but she can heal a bullet wound overnight. Like, we love one genius. Tony Stark who? Okay, when Ross makes Shuri jump in her lab and she's like, don't scare me like that, colonizer. So yeah, that made me laugh so much. It's so good. This film is throwing major shade at us whites and it's absolutely brilliant. Is this Wakanda? No, it's Texas. I understood that reference. So not only does Shuri quote vines, make puns, throw major shade at her brother who was also the king of Wakanda, but she's also really sarcastic. She just keeps getting better and better and I love her so much. Okay, so Killmonger shows up, Claw is now dead, and Killmonger challenges T'Challa. Like, now I won't lie, the story from here in the film was really quite predictable. The second Killmonger showed up and challenged T'Challa for the throne, I was like, they're gonna fight on that waterfall and T'Challa's gonna lose, probably gonna get thrown over the waterfall, and then he's gonna somehow come back and stop Killmonger. And you know, that whole aspect was very predictable. Despite it being predictable, it was still very, very enjoyable. The fight scene between Killmonger and T'Challa on the waterfall was so intense, and even though you knew T'Challa was probably going to lose, you were still rooting for him, and there were still moments where you were like, oh, maybe T'Challa will win. And so despite being predictable, they still made it interesting and entertaining and very, very awesome. Now, by this point in the film, I had developed a great amount of love and care for Shuri. So when T'Challa died, seeing Shuri and that completely broke me, because throughout the film you can tell she really looks up to her brother. Because even when we have the earlier challenge on in the film with M'Baku, T'Challa doesn't lose. He never loses. Shuri's probably never seen him lose a fight before. And now all of a sudden T'Challa is getting beaten up, stabbed, thrown over a waterfall. And just a couple weeks after their dad has been killed. And Shuri's only 16. It's honestly heartbreaking for someone that age to have to go through something like that. It must have been so horrible. And during that part of the film, I was more worried about Shuri than I was about T'Challa. Because T'Challa, he's fine. He can take care of himself. He'll find a way to come back. Shuri, however, is only 16 and is too precious for this world and needs protecting, and I was really worried about her. And it's her reaction when T'Challa's starting to lose. You can tell she's completely thrown by it. She wasn't expecting it. She's like, this can't be happening. T'Challa never loses. And you can really see that in her expression. And just when Shuri later on breaks down, when they're in the jungle on the run and she's with her mum and she's like, first Papa, now T'Challa, like that. Oh, I so nearly cried. That was heartbreaking to watch because she is still grieving her father. This film only takes place a week after Civil War, meaning their dad has only recently passed away. And yes, she's been making constant jokes throughout this film, constantly laughing and smiling. That doesn't mean she's not grieving. She's probably keeping it to herself because she's the princess of Wakanda. Her brother is now the king. She wants to be tough. She wants to appear strong, and therefore she probably keeps a lot of it to herself. And therefore when she finally does break down, it's when she realizes she's lost both her father and brother within a couple of weeks of each other, and she completely breaks down, and it's so heartbreaking. Shuri just deserves all the love and happiness in the world. So again, T'Challa not actually being dead was predictable. I wasn't expecting them to go to M'Baku, and when they got to M'Baku, I wasn't expecting him to be the one to actually be like, I saved T'Challa. T'Challa have him back here. But that was some really interesting character development, because straight off the go from the very start of the film we assumed M'Baku was a bad guy because he challenged T'Challa for the throne and lost, and so we'd think, you know, he's a bad guy in this film, but actually he ends up being one of the good guys, which I think was some great character development. And I mean, even if people hadn't predicted T'Challa not actually being dead, they showed the Avengers Infinity War trailer in the cinema before Black Panther, and T'Challa's in that trailer, so I think anyone could have put 2 and 2 together and worked out that he wasn't actually dead. So showing the Infinity War trailer before the film was actually kind of a major spoiler. But M'Baku's character development is so good in this film because he loses to T'Challa, he's humiliated by T'Challa when he challenges him for the throne and loses, but he still then saves T'Challa and helps him get Wakanda back, and that is brilliant. And M'Baku himself as a character he's brilliant. He's another one of the funny characters along with Shuri, and it's fantastic. Like when Ross tries to talk to him and then M'Baku and his tribe bark at him and get him to shut up, that was absolutely brilliant. And then when M'Baku's like, I will feed you to my children, just kidding, we're vegetarians. That, oh god, that was so funny. That was absolutely brilliant. And then when there's that really intense moment between everyone where they're talking about getting T'Challa back and getting the throne of Wakanda back, and then M'Baku's like, are you done? Are you done? And then T'Challa speaks to M'Baku, is like, I could use an army. Oh, I bet you could. But no. M'Baku was brilliant, and I really hope we get to see more of him in Infinity War because he was absolutely fantastic. So they all go to Wakanda to start fighting Killmonger. First things first, Shuri's fighting gear and armor with the face paint is so pretty and badass, and her gauntlets are so cool, and they look like little Black Panther heads, and it's the cutest thing, but they're also really badass, and she's so badass, and I just love Shuri so much. And Shuri is so brave. She goes against Killmonger by herself. Like that is so brave to go against the bad guy completely by yourself when you're only 16. I'm gonna keep saying it. She's only 16. Like, I'm 2 years older than her. I hardly ever have favorite fictional characters who I'm actually older than. Shuri is 2 years younger than me, but she is like a million times more smarter. She's prettier than me. She's more badass than me. She's more epic than me. She's just, I love her. And she's gonna be an absolutely amazing role model for younger girls who see this film. So T'Challa dropping everything to go and save Shuri from Killmonger just shows exactly how close they are as siblings. And even after T'Challa has just saved Shuri's life, she's still more worried about him when they fall down into the hole. So the fight between Killmonger and Black Panther is really awesome when they're on the train track. M'Baku comes to save the day, and when Okoye stops the rhino, and then he's like, would you kill me, my love? And then Okoye's like, for Wakanda? Without question. Yes! So Killmonger ends up dying, but his last line when he talks about being thrown in the ocean with his ancestors because they knew that death was better than bondage, that is like, it really hits you. And it, like, this film is so important. It's got so much representation. There's only like 2 white people in this film and one of them dies. It's brilliant. It's the reverse from other Hollywood films. It's about goddamn time we've gotten that representation, and not only the representation of people of color, but the representation of women as well. Every single female character in this film is badass and amazing, and they aren't sexualized or anything, and it's just, this film is so important. It's so important, and I love it so much, and this film is gonna mean so much to a lot of people, and I'm so glad we've finally gotten a film like that out of the MCU, and it's so important. Okay, so then the end of the film, T'Challa decides that his father was wrong, and again, that's some serious character development, and he decides to tell the world about Wakanda's technology and stuff, and he takes Shuri to New York, and then again we get another iconic Shuri line when she's like, you know, when you said you were taking me to California for the first time, I thought you meant Coachella or Disneyland. Hashtag get Shuri to Disneyland 2K18. I volunteer to take her. Like, honestly, Shuri's character is written so well. You can tell she's 16, but she's still so smart smart and incredible and badass, and I love her so much, as I think a lot of people do and will do. So then we have the mid and end credit scenes in Black Panther. So the mid credit scene, T'Challa is telling the world about him and Wakanda are now gonna help them, and then there's some guy in the audience who's like, how are you gonna help us? And T'Challa just smirks, and it's brilliant, because oh boys, you have no idea, Wakanda are about to completely change the world, and it's gonna be brilliant. And then we have the end credit scene. Bucky! I nearly screamed when Bucky showed up. So we knew, and it was pretty obvious, that the end credit scene was probably going to link to Avengers Infinity War somehow, since that is the next MCU film. Oh god. But you know, the fact that we had a scene and it had Shuri in it and it had Bucky, two of my faves in one scene together, hell yeah. Bucky is out of Cairo and he's living his life peacefully on Wakanda, and it makes me so happy. And plus, Shuri is probably the one who fixed him. She's probably the one who took all the Hydra trigger words out of his mind and helped him get out of Cairo and stuff, and for that I am so grateful, Shuri. Thank you. She's probably gonna build his new arm as well. Oh, that end credit scene made me so happy. Oh, and then it ended with Black Panther will return in Avengers Infinity War. Yeah, I'm not ready. Oh god, everyone's gonna die except T'Challa, because they have confirmed Black Panther 2. So yeah, we're getting a sequel to Black Panther, which I'm super hyped for. But in the meantime, Avengers Infinity War, Shuri's gonna be in it. She was in the newest trailer for it. I'm so excited for new Shuri content. It's gonna be so good. And we got a steal of her in the film, and you can see Bruce Banner and Wanda with her, so she's gonna definitely meet Bruce, and she's probably gonna meet Tony as well, and she's gonna outsmart both of them, and it's gonna be brilliant, and I can't wait. And I really hope she meets Peter Parker in Infinity War, because they're two of our teenager characters and they'd get on so well, because they're both nerds who love science, and it would be absolutely wonderful to see them together, because they'd be such good friends. Can you imagine a Shuri and Peter team up? It would be so cool. So I really hope they get to meet in Infinity War as well, and I'm just so excited to see T'Challa and Okoye and Shuri all in Infinity War, because a lot of Infinity War is going to be set in Wakanda, so it's going to be really awesome seeing them again, as well as seeing how they now get the Wakandan tech kind of into the MCU. The Iron Man suit might get some upgrades from Shuri and that sort of thing. It's going to be really interesting to see how Black Panther is going to shape the rest of the MCU, because they're going to completely change it with all their new technology, and it's going to be so awesome to see. And that is everything I have to say about Black Panther. So I've been filming for nearly an hour. I will try and edit this down as much as I can, but as you can tell, I had a lot to say about this film. I absolutely loved it so much. It's definitely one of my MCU faves. It's right up there with Civil War, Winter Soldier and Homecoming, and I cannot wait to see these characters in Infinity War, and I cannot wait for Black Panther 2 sequel. It's gonna be so good. That was my spoiler review of Black Panther. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below all your thoughts of the film. Did you like it? Did you agree with what I said? Did you disagree? What did you think? And make sure to like, subscribe and share. In the next few weeks I will be uploading spoiler reviews of Thor Ragnarok and Spider-Man Homecoming. I know they're a tad bit late, but I can't not review these films, so those will be going up in the next few weeks, so subscribe to get notified when those come out. And in the meantime, I will see you guys in my next video. Goodbye!